Hey, it's Sandra. Welcome to another episode of Asexualise, My Asexual Life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, and I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. So, subscribe and hit the bell icon right now. So, it's been exactly 5 months to this day since I split up with my now ex-boyfriend. I broke up with him on Monday, the 15th of April, and it's now the 15th of September. So I had to double check that on my calendar because coincidentally, exactly 5 months later, I decided, without knowing it was exactly 5 months later, to go on his Instagram profile, not look all through his profile because I blocked him, but just to experience seeing his actual profile pic and seeing how I felt about it, to see if I was fully healed and over him yet, and to see how I would react, because I would hope that I wouldn't react at all. Unfortunately, this wasn't the case, and it ended up bringing up memories of the relationship again, the problems again, the way it ended, me feeling sorry for him again, and all this type of thing. So I'm not sure how productive that actually was. But yeah, I looked on my calendar on my Mac and I went back to the 15th of April and I'm like, yep, it's exactly 5 months today since we broke up. And so it's been an interesting experience, and I wanted to share with you what's been happening in my life since the breakup, the things I still find difficult sometimes, and how my life has changed for the better and moved on because of that relationship. So, like I said, I did actually look on his Instagram profile, but when I said look on his Instagram profile, I can't see anything. All I can see is his picture and his name underneath it. So, because I've blocked him, so I can't see his Facebook profile. And I just wanted to see if he had posted anything else and how I felt about it, because I know when we were in a relationship together, he was telling me that he wasn't posting much on Instagram. And I know when I first split up with him, I did notice he took the posts off of me and him on there, which is quite understandable, really. And because I noticed the post count had gone down, and then I noticed it went up by one. So I'm assuming he put a picture of himself on there after that. So anyway, when I saw his profile, just a picture of it today, like he's not got glasses on anymore, which is how I knew him, because his profile pic when I actually saw him on Instagram, when I knew him in terms of being in a relationship with him, when he was on Instagram, he had glasses, but in real life he didn't have that anymore because he'd had laser surgery on his eyes. So he was like wearing like a beige top and like khaki trousers, which is weird because I used to see him in bright colors. But underneath his name, which he's put in italics, it said the show must go on. Well, I don't know if that's supposed to be like inspirational to other people, but to me it sounds like quite a depressive comment. I mean, the show must go on is from a Freddie Mercury song. And according to Google, the show must go on is a phrase in show business, meaning that regardless of what happens, whatever show has been planned still has to be staged for the waiting patrons. So, in an informal terms, it's used to say that a performance, event, etc., must continue even though there are problems. So, yeah, to me that sounds like a guy who's depressed. The show must go on. It's basically saying like, even though I've got difficulties in my life, I'm still going to carry on. But I think there's more inspirational ways of saying that. It sounds to me like he's not doing that great without me, actually, which I guess is refreshing to hear in some way, but I want people to be happy. I'm sure he will be happy in the end anyway. So, you know what I mean? I don't know. It sounded to me like a depressive statement, the show must go on, meaning that, I've got to carry on with life even though I'm not really enjoying it. So, yeah, I was quite glad in a way that he's not going, "Yay, my life's so good without her." But it made me feel sorry for him, and it made me care about him a bit again. And I'm like thinking, Sandra, he is only feeling sorry for himself, not for what happened between you and him and the fact he lied to you. He couldn't care less about you and all the lies he told you and the deception. So I have to be careful that I'm not too empathetic in my feelings towards him. Do you know what I mean? Because it did unfortunately bring up old stuff again with him and made me feel sorry for him. And I'm like, hang on a minute. He lied to you, he deceived you, he didn't treat you very well. So why do you even care? So what I've learnt through being in Matthew Hussey's Love Life Club, which I would not have joined had I not had that relationship, has been a lot. Right. And I'm really grateful for the relationship I was in the sense that it has led me to be in Matthew Hussey's Love Life Club. Now, if you don't know who Matthew Hussey is, you can Google him. He has been a dating coach for 17 years. He's the world's #1 dating and confidence coach. The world's #1. He's got millions of subscribers on his YouTube channel and he's very famous. And I am in this Love Life Club. I've paid for a whole year's membership, and I've had personal coaching from him and his wife in the group coach, personal group coaching from him, not as in one-to-one, but personally. It's in a group of like I think it was 135 of us, but I was the one on video talking to him and his wife. So that was like the first week I went into the club. He coached me with his wife. And then the second week, I put something in comments. His wife did some coaching, and then there was another week as well. So I'm getting a lot out of Matthew Hussey's Love Life Club, and had that relationship not ended badly, then I would not be learning all these new skills that I'm learning now with the Love Life Club. So in a way, the relationship that has been quite tragic in the way it was and ended, for me, has been a blessing in disguise, in the sense that I'm now focusing on a lot of areas of my life that otherwise I wouldn't have been, like this intensely. So joining Matthew Hussey's Love Life Club, you get like ongoing coaching, you get Matthew AI love coach 24/7, which is great because I talk to Matthew AI about business as well. It's amazing. He's just literally released that to the public. People didn't really know about it before then. And there's loads and loads of courses in there about confidence, about getting over heartache and heartbreak, about meeting people, about red flags. There's a course, and attachment style, there's a course. There's just so many different courses. There's individual short training sessions as well as master classes. So I just feel like being part of Matthew Hussey's Love Life Club, I'm literally learning so much stuff. You've got to rewatch it and keep rewatching the stuff for it to go in your brain, though. But it's really fascinating. And had I not had that breakup, I would not have joined Matthew Hussey's Love Life Club. That's why I joined it, because I had that breakup. And I'm glad I had that relationship, in the sense that even though it ended badly and I had a lot of heartache and pain, and I still haven't fully gotten over that yet, I'm glad that it led to me doing Matthew Hussey's Love Life Club and me not being active on dating sites or apps anymore for my own good. Right? Because if it wasn't that guy, it'd probably be some other guy where things had gone wrong, in order for me to understand my pattern in what I keep attracting. So I think it's very interesting. I'm really grateful that I'm in Matthew Hussey's Love Life Club. Like I said, I don't think my ex particularly looks like he's having a great time without me, but he'll just be feeling sorry for himself. He won't care about me. He didn't care about me in the end. So, do you know what I mean? Whereas I actually genuinely cared about him. So, and I didn't lie at all. So I think it's really important to know. And whilst I've been doing Matthew Hussey's Love Life Club, I've realized that I need a builder. So Matthew talks about this in his Love Life book. And I didn't know what he meant by a builder. So in order to have a healthy relationship, we need to be trying to find a builder. So there's people who are looking to date or get into a relationship that are narcissistic. Obviously, they are no good for you. These people who are narcissists are not good, or have narcissistic traits, even if they don't have narcissistic personality actual disorder. Narcissism and narcissistic traits are very very traumatizing. The person blurs your reality, which is actually what happened in that relationship, and they like to deny your reality, and they like to turn the tables on you even though they've done wrong behaviors themselves. So these are some of the things that are not good, right? This is really bad, right? So the narcissists are on the dating scene, they are on dating apps and dating sites, right? Not everyone's a narcissist, obviously. Then you've got the avoidant people. The avoidants are avoiding being in a serious, committed, intimate relationship. Intimacy really scares them. They avoid a lot of the time getting into intimate relationships, committed intimate relationships, even though they might have one night stands or temporary relationships. That they're avoiding intimacy, they're avoiding serious committed relationships. So if you want a serious committed relationship and it to be healthy, you want to not be ending up with a narcissistic person, and you want to not be ending up with an avoidant person who is not prepared to work on their avoidancy tendencies and change, right? And then obviously you do have people who are insecure attachment as well, like me, who's anxious attachment. And anxious attachment can be very difficult to navigate because we usually need more reassurance and things to be done more in a certain way. So that can be harder. And um we still usually like relationships though. So but I've worked on myself a lot to make myself a lot more healthier, even though I've got anxious attachment style, you know? So I don't need to live with a person, for example. I don't need to see the person every single day in person. You know what I mean? So these are important things. And I can do things on my own and live on my own and pay my own bills and everything like that. So I used to be reliant on a guy years ago for that. I'm not like that anymore. And a guy has to have his own freedom to choose the way he wants to live his life as well. Do you know what I mean? So you've got to give them their freedom like that. It might not be, however, matching your needs. So Matthew talks quite a bit about this. He said that, it's all to do with compatibility. Like you can have attraction to someone can be attracted back to you. You can have that's mutual attraction. You can have things in common. You can really love each other, but if you're not compatible, then it won't last for a long-term, healthy, successful relationship. Compatibility is the number one factor in the make or break a relationship. Matthew did actually say that if you don't want sex, you need to find someone else who also doesn't want sex in a relationship. This is since I've been in his love life club, and I said in chat once that I don't want sex. And this other woman said she doesn't want sex. And Matthew says, yeah, okay, there are people who don't want sex. But if you don't want sex, you need to find someone else who doesn't want sex in a relationship. But compatibility is also about values. If you've got very different values to the person, then that's not going to work. Lifestyle. If you've got a very different lifestyle to that person, then that might not work. Beliefs, these core fundamental things. Obviously, stuff like marriage and kids. If they want marriage and kids and you don't, that's incompatibility. So he said it doesn't matter if two people are both attracted to each other, two people really love each other, and they have some stuff in common. If they're not compatible in terms of their sexual needs, in terms of their lifestyle needs, in terms of their long-term goals, in terms of their deal breakers, then it won't work long term, And Matthew starts to talk about the fantasy rather than the reality. And he says that what happens with a lot of us is when we start dating, we fantasize and project what we want that person to be, what we think they're going to be. We project way into the future our potential life with them, when in reality, we don't really know them. And so this was interesting for me because in that last relationship, the guy actually did say about living with me, marrying me, get a place together, even though I said I didn't want marriage, And I said I usually prefer to live alone. So And he was talking about moving to my city and all these things. So, which would have been useful had we been in a relationship, but he couldn't get a job he really liked down here. So that was pretty useless idea in a way. So yeah, I just think that um every relationship, however hard it is, does lead us into the direction where we need to go. And I think being in Matthew Hussey's Love Life Club is enabling me to see where there's gaps in my knowledge of dating relationships, and it's trying to help me a lot. I now analyze when I'm out in social situations how I feel about different guys. I analyze it more than I've ever done before. I've always been an analyzer of how do I feel, what do I think about this guy, that guy, but I'm doing it in a way where I feel like I've got more of Matthew's voice in my head saying, like, "Are you projecting now? Like, what's the reality of this situation and what do you wish it to be?" So it's made me much more analytical and tried to hold back on my hyper romanticism, which really gets in the way sometimes. So going back to what Matthew said about builder, so we don't want a narcissist for a relationship. We don't want someone who's avoiding intimacy, avoiding a relationship. We don't want someone who we're putting on a pedestal and people pleasing. We don't want someone who we're putting in more energy than they are with us. We want someone who's a builder. And what Matthew means by that is we need to find someone who wants to actually build a serious, committed, healthy, long term, sustainable relationship with us. Someone who wants to actually build a life with us from the ground up, if you like. Someone who actually sees us in their future and who wants to actually build something special together. Not someone who has a position of our power or authority over you, who doesn't see you as an equal, but someone who sees you as an equal, who puts an equal amount of time, energy, and effort into the relationship, not just a little bit at the beginning, but persistently and consistently, who you can have open, honest communication with about how you feel, and who provides a safe space for you, and vice versa. And someone who actually is excited to build a relationship, not someone who's avoiding a relationship, someone who can't have a healthy relationship, someone who displays narcissistic behaviors, someone who, like, literally isn't excited to get in a relationship. Matthew explains that when his wife was talking about being together and getting married and planning their life together, she was excited about it. She is excited about it. And that's the type of person he wants and needs. Someone who's actually going to build a life with him who is excited for that, who is feeling great and wanting that. And I think that's really important. I haven't really found any. Well, you could argue my long-term exes wanted to build a life with me, but they weren't actually good guys for me. But, I haven't had anyone since my last long-term ex in 2011. Um, since I split with him, he split with me, I should really technically say. Then, I haven't had anyone since 2011 to actually really want to build a proper relationship with me and be excited for it. Like the guy this year, he was like that in the beginning, like excited to build something, but this was only the initial like fantasy phase, if you like, the initial like chat and excitement phase, rather than actually being seriously sensible and committed to that. So I think it's really important to know the difference, because it can be hard sometimes. When I heard that guy this year say about our future together, I thought he was being really serious. There wasn't any point that I didn't think he was being serious on that. So I think it's important, if you have had someone who's displayed some narcissistic traits and gaslighted you in some way, I think it's important sometimes to keep some evidence, at least for a little while, to know that you were what you experienced was actually real. Do you know what I mean? Like, even a couple of, was it 2 or 3 weeks ago, I found something that he wrote, which I didn't even, I forgot. I didn't even know I had it because I forgot. And he wrote down, when he was being kind and caring at the beginning of the relationship, that's a guy this year, that, that he wanted, because he knows I have anxiety, that he wanted to lower my anxiety and work with me on it to help reduce my anxiety and stress, which I thought meant he was a lovely guy. And then in the end, he just used my anxiety against me, which was horrible and unexpected as well. So, um, that is not nice. But just because I have anxiety doesn't mean to say I deserve the treatment that he gave me. The lying and the deceiving and the not speaking to me and all this type of stuff. So I think you have to remember that if you have got an anxious attachment style in a relationship, it doesn't mean to say you deserve bad treatment because of that. And if someone's accepted you with your anxiety in the beginning and then uses it against you, it's horrible. And I think that can be very traumatic. So I did find the breakup this year very traumatic, but I have overcome a lot of that trauma now. I'm not completely over every part of that, but I have overcome like a lot of it. So, I've been able to do a dating detox where I'm literally not active on dating sites or apps anymore, as in I'm not actively searching for someone on there anymore. I still got a premium account on Badoo, Facebook, dating I completely deleted. Ace love, I took, that was an asexual dating site. I removed deleted my account from there. Some dating groups, I deleted me from being in there. I did a lot of this when I was actually with my ex, but I did get my premium Badoo account back because fortunately, I wasn't with him that long. So I did actually reactivate it before I lost it completely because I got premium for free. I've been on Badoo that long. They gave me a free premium account. And like the other day, I did a quick video from there on my Asexualise dating channel, just showing that they still don't have a way to filter for actually looking for asexuals on there, even though you can say you're asexual. But I haven't messaged any guys on there. I think I saw about a few likes yesterday, but I didn't actually like flick through any of them. And yeah, because I don't want that life again. I've been online dating actively for like 10 years. I think it's important I keep abreast of the online dating world, as it were, because obviously I do like to advise asexuals on what it's like these days, which is a minefield. So yeah, so also Matthew Hussey does say to make sure you're trying to meet people in real life, not just on dating apps. That Matthew believes, and I do agree with this now, that a dating app or dating site should just be one thing that you have as a way of trying to find someone. But you should also be going out there and meeting people in real life. And Matthew believes that you should not be on dating sites very long with people before you have a video date with them and then meet up with them in person. Because he feels that on dating sites, too many people can end up getting into just text conversations. They're like text buddies and they're not actually moving anything forward. So they're basically wasting your time if they're not actually looking for a serious committed relationship. They're just making small talk to waste your time because they got nothing better to do with their lives, basically. You know what I mean? They're not actually after something serious. So Matthew says it's better to get people off dating apps and actually connecting outside of that, meeting in person as soon as possible. And I do agree with that to a certain extent. I do, even when I was on dating apps like Facebook dating or Badoo, if I was getting on with the guy, I wouldn't just like want to stay on the app. I'd be like, because it felt weird then. It's like, well, I'm actually talking to you. We're getting along. So video date should be next and then meeting up should be next. But I think because um I'm quite a leader, I think sometimes I used to probably lead that too much myself. I haven't really found any guy that takes a lead in a really good way, I don't think. Like, my ex this year, he took the lead as in coming down to see me initially. Um, But I think that's probably because he wanted, like, physical intimacy with me, even though I didn't have sex with him, like kissing and stuff. But so that was a huge incentive for him. But you know what I mean? In the end, it was me doing a lot of stuff, and I noticed it, and I thought, this is not good. Arranging to meet and everything. I don't want that. So at the moment, like, I am focusing more on my books. You might know I'm working on my Asexuality book. So since I've split with him, I have published this book, which became a #1 hot new release on Amazon.co.uk and Amazon.com, which beat lots of sexual books. This was the week I split up with him, and it became an international bestseller. So it was a bestseller on Amazon.com and Amazon.co.uk. This is Diary Confessions of a Hyper-Romantic Asexual 78 Life Lessons to Asexualise, which can really help you overcome asexual struggles and everything. So I did that. And I've been to theme park. I've been to London a number of times, which was very strange because he lived in London. So, and I never went to see him in London, but I have been to London another number of times, like the aquarium. I've been to the Paddington experience. Been to the aquarium more than once. I've been to a business show, which is how I injured my back, actually. And I've met Matthew Hussey in real life at his Love Live Club Live in London, which was amazing. I'm working really hard on my fitness. So although I've got 2 broken bones in my spine, I'm working really hard on my physical health at the moment. So that's a huge focus of mine this year because I've had a lot of ill health. So by not being in that relationship with my ex anymore this year, I can actually focus on other aspects of my life. I've stopped being active on dating sites, like I said, so I've got all that time back to be able to focus on my book writing and book publishing, particularly for asexuals, which brings me so much joy and happiness. I'm able to have a lot more time to focus on that, even though I say a lot more time, there's still I still don't have enough hours in the day to do everything I need to do. But do you know what I mean? Since not being with that guy, my ex, I've traveled a lot more, in the sense I've gone to London a lot more. I've gone out to a lot more places that's not in my city. I've been, like I said, to a business show for 2 days. I've published a best-selling book. I've got other books I'm going to be finishing this year. I gave myself a huge, big, audacious goal of, at the beginning of this year, to get 5 books published for asexuals this year. So far, I've done 1. This one, it's a bestseller. But I have yet to do more. Like, I've got 2 in the works at the moment. So, Asexuality and Asexual Guide to Sex are the next ones to come out. So the Asexual Guide to Sex I started working on in 2019. It's long overdue, needs to come out. But I've still got some bits to finish on that. I'm working on the Asexuality book at the moment. It's hard to get it done because I'm trying to juggle my health, which is my injured back, and actually doing exercises for it can make me more exhausted. But I feel that everything happens for a reason, and by that relationship turning out not good, it's enabled me to leave the toxicity of online dating apps and sites. So I'm doing a detox, and that was really difficult at first because I wasn't used to just being on my own as much and speaking to myself as much. Because I used to be able to talk to any guys pretty much I wanted every week on dating apps. Do you know what I mean? I would just, or dating sites, I'd just message guys, different guys, and chat whenever I felt like it, which is a benefit of dating apps and dating sites. You can just pop in someone's inbox and have a chat with a random person, and you can end up just knowing about different people. So I did like that part, but it can get very addictive, and you can waste a lot of time, especially if you're an asexual like me who's sex repulsed. You can end up wasting a lot of time. And Facebook dating, I deleted. That was actually my favorite dating app. However, every guy I met in person off that app was a liar. So to me, they weren't good. I'm like, what's going on with Facebook dating people? And what used to really annoy me when someone met me through Facebook dating and then go, "I don't usually use Facebook." It's like, well, why the F are you even using it to date then if you don't like using it? It's ridiculous. It's very stupid and illogical as well, you know. It's because if people are on Facebook dating, they kind of expect usually to be on Facebook to continue the conversation, or maybe Instagram. But you know what I mean? It's like if you find someone on Facebook dating, it's because they're on Facebook usually and want to date on there for convenience. And it's so annoying when they go, like, go to my snap me. It's like as if I'm going to go out of my way to snap someone. Oh, I don't even have Snapchat and don't want it. But anyway, so in terms of like personal growth, I think I've grown a lot more already since I split with the ex, which really helps. I feel like my physical fitness is a big focus of mine at the moment. So I'm still seeing a physiotherapist for increasing my um strength in my back still, and that is very hardcore, you know, very hardcore, but I'm doing it because I am a very strong person. I feel that my ex might have thought, "Oh, what's she gonna do without me?" But actually, I'm thriving more because I'm not with him. You know, I've got my self-confidence back, my self-esteem back that took a huge nosedive when I was with him. Plus, I think it's very ironic that I'm quite heavily involved with Tech Exeter now, and he came from a tech background. So, do you know what I mean? I feel like he missed out, really. He missed out on me, which is a lovely person. And he also missed out on the fact that he could have got involved with Tech Exeter because he comes from a tech background and wanted a tech job. So I think find that quite ironic. You know what I mean? I get on really well with the people there. And since split up with my ex, I've actually found that I analyze more other relationships now, including connections that I make, friendships I possibly make, and also because I had 3 friends leave my life last year. Um, one admitted they deceived me for over 5 years. That was really tough. Another person was a guy who got a girl who he became really close to as a friend and said she was just a friend, but then stopped talking to me. And then another person went back to their country and decides they don't usually speak to people when they go back to their own country. They have this thing where they just cut off from people, which is not what I personally am like. But anyhow, so that was it. So now this year I haven't been actually searching for making more friends till recently because I wanted to get over the shock of someone who is my friend I thought was my friend deceiving me for 5 years. I found out that they admitted they deceived me for that time last year. That was like May last year. So that's been like over a year now. So, you know, I feel more able but to look for friends, but I'm much more strict now on who I even have as my friend. Like I analyze the situation, how that person made me feel when I met them, how you know the interaction went. So with Matthew, he teaches a lot about it, you know, in relationships, for example, it's not about how you feel about that person, it's about how they make you feel. And this is true in friendships as well. Like if you are trying to make friends, but you're not feeling good because of the way the interaction goes with that person, especially if it's early on in the friendship or potential friendship, then that's still red flags. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're not feeling comfortable, happy to be yourself from the beginning, then something's wrong. And then it's probably not wise to pursue that person for a friendship. So I'm a lot more cautious now than I was before. And with my hyperromanticism, it is hard because only like very recently, like this week, even like today, particularly, I've been thinking, "Oh, I really wished I could kiss a younger foreign guy again. I really could do with a good snog right now." Snogging is passionate kissing, in case you didn't know. And, you know, I haven't really been thinking that way that much. right? I have been thinking about some guys being good looking. I have been smiling at some foreign guys and stuff like that. But I haven't really been thinking about, I wish I could just like snog a guy right now. But that's because I'm a hyper romantic and hyper kisser who hasn't kissed for like 5 months. So now I'm feeling a bit like, oh, I wish I had a guy to kiss. But it's no good having a guy to kiss if that leads on to attachment, which then leads on to a relationship with a guy who's not healthy or not nice to me or not compatible with me. So it's very tricky. I think the more you do personal development, the better skilled you become in dealing with relationships and acquaintances and connections, but also it's harder because you know the reality of the situation, you know what to look out for when things aren't good, which limits your options more because you're like, hang on a minute, this isn't right. There's something not right about this. So when I'm out now and I'm socializing, I'm analyzing some guys I'm talking to. So I've just recently started going to a new meetup group. Well, it's been going a little while, not that much. Only this year it started, I believe. But I have only just started going to it over the last couple of weeks. And it's nice people actually want to chat there, whereas I was going to a previous meetup and people didn't really want to talk to me. But I since found out that's not a personal thing to do with me. Other people found the same thing, which is why they've gone to this group, this newer group. So I was quite relieved about that. But when I come into contact with people, I'm constantly analyzing myself now in terms of, especially with guys, like, I am like, am I attracted to this guy at all in any way, shape or form? Am I a little bit romantically attracted to him? Am I aesthetically attracted to him? Am I sensually attracted to him? And if I am attracted to this guy at all in any way, shape, or form, is it a strong attraction or a mild attraction? And I'm also analyzing, okay, so if you're a little bit attracted to him, what's making you attracted to him? In the answer to that question with one guy, it's because the guy was actually very nice to me and praising me a lot. So my top love language is quality time with someone. But my second love language is joint physical touch with words of affirmation. So obviously when someone's praising me and saying really nice words to me and about me, then it I find that person more attractive when they're talking nicely and saying praising stuff to me. Obviously, I'm not attracted to women, but if a guy is saying stuff like that to me, paying me attention, saying a lot of nice things about me, praising me, being very enthusiastic about my personality, that to me is attractive. So it's like because they're attracted to my personality and character traits of me, that like then goes into them and reflects back at me. So I just find this absolutely fascinating, but it's quite hard at the same time. So basically, I'm being my usual bubbly, loud, talkative self. This person's really loving that about me. And then it automatically makes me more attracted to that person because of the way that they are feeling about me. But I've got to remember what Matthew said. It's not about how they feel about you, it's about how that person makes you feel about them, and how they make you feel in general. So this particular person, I thought I do have a little bit attraction for, but they're not my usual type and they're British. And then I was analyzing the situation. They got kids. It's not the type of person I would want to be in a relationship with, but I was just analyzing, why do you have a little bit of attraction? I'm like, because they were really nice to you and they praised you. It's not really because of them. It's because of you, Sandra. It's because you are showing your true personality. You're not holding anything back. The person loves your personality clearly. They do praise you, which you do deserve. They're really nice about you. They're really like loving the way you are. They're liking your expressions because they smile when they see you being enthusiastic and being yourself and in the moment and being bubbly, and they love all that about you. So I worked out that I get attracted to guys who are finding my personality and me attractive and giving me praise. And that partly has to do, I'm sure, with the fact that my second love language is words of affirmation plus physical touch. When I did you can do a lovelanguages.com quiz to find out what your love language is. So what makes you feel good the most in relationships or friendship, for example. And my top is quality time, when a person spends quality time with me. And the second was physical touch and words of affirmation, joint second. I got the same points for both of them. So that was very interesting, especially physical touch, because some people think, oh, you're asexual, why would you want physical touch? But I'm very sensual. The guys have a body. I love holding hands all the time and kissing all the time. And I like being physically connected to the guy I'm in a relationship with. I'm not in a relationship, obviously, anymore. So, I do miss kissing, and I do miss, in a relationship, I do miss like having someone there to be in a relationship with. But obviously, if it's not a healthy relationship, then I'm much better off being single and being on my own. And so far, I've always been happier being single on my own. I'm a lot more relaxed and less stressed and less anxious. And I have to work on myself constantly at the moment to lower my stress levels, lower my anxiety levels, which is why I'm making sure I do more and more writing. Writing, actually, besides being my life purpose, is very therapeutic for me. The more I write, the less stress I feel and the less anxious I feel usually, which calms me down, which helps my health no end, because my blood test, although it was negative, thank God, for blood cancer, which I had to go through that, and also negative for osteoporosis on the blood test, although I've still been referred for a DEXA scan. The bone profile came back no problem. It did show the beginnings of hypothyroidism, which I had years before and cured naturally. And what happens with the hypothyroidism is the thyroid, TSH, is not working properly. My TS4 is actually just okay at the moment. My TSH level is not right. It's way high, which it means it's not working properly. It's weird because with hypothyroidism, actually your TSH is higher, because hypo means low, underactive thyroid, but your TSH is higher for it to be low. Thyroid activation, very strange. But anyway, my point was that stress stops the thyroid from working properly, and also digestive problems stop the thyroid from working properly. I've had digestive problems, but all this is linked to stress, high levels of stress. So I have to keep reducing my stress, and that's one good thing about not being in a relationship anymore, not being on the dating scene active anymore, is that I'm a lot less stressed. I find very intimate relationships, well, I should say relationship, because I don't want to be in an actual romantic relationship with more than one person. But you can have a friendship that's quite intimate, I think. I find it very, very anxiety inducing and stressful. And so it's better for me that I'm not actually in that. And especially the last one. But like Matthew says, we need to find a builder. In order to have a serious, healthy, happy, committed relationship, we need to find a builder, someone who actively is seeking out a relationship, just like we are, if we are doing that, and who actually wants to build a future with that person, and who specifically values relationships and sees the value in them rather than wanting to avoid them or be on their own. They actually want to specifically being in a relationship, because if you find someone who specifically wants to be in a relationship, it's a lot better. But I know my ex this year, he really wanted to be in a relationship. He's more used to being in a relationship than on his own. But that's not necessarily a good reason to get into a relationship, just because you're not used to being on your own, if you know what I mean. You can kind of value a relationship for the wrong reasons. So you've got to be really careful of that. But yeah, anyway, now I analyze all the time guys that I meet, but in more depth, because I analyze, okay, so are you projecting at the moment onto this person? Is there anything, because a lot of us project and we don't realize we're doing it. So now I'm like, take a step back, thinking, is there any projection you're giving to this person? I'm like, well, yeah, you're making this person, you think this person doesn't need sex because they haven't actually mentioned, when you mention your asexuality, they're very supportive, and they're not saying they need sex. They're not even talking about it. They're just being very accepting and acknowledging. And that then makes me feel like, oh, this person may be able to live without sex, because when I'm talking about it, it just seems quite normal to them. and they're not like saying anything bad about it, and they're like accepting, and they saying what a great person I am. So that puts in my head that they would be able to live without sex possibly. That's what it puts in my head, because I am trying to learn through the skills I've learned through doing the Love Life Club. I'm trying to learn to discern when I am actually projecting what I think a person is and the reality of the situation. And I have to hold myself back from thinking, you do not know this guy yet, Sandra. You've only just met them like once. So you don't know this, but you might have talked to the person for like 3 hours, but you don't know this person. Right? So stop. I have to stop myself and say, this is what I think based on just seeing this person once, but there may be a different reality that I don't know about because I don't know that person. So when the second time comes around and I saw this person again, I then find out this person is highly sexual, that they are into one night stands and casual sex, and they would jump at the chance if they got offered it. How do I know this? Because someone was wanting that with them, although they didn't realize it. So yeah. Um, and they weren't honest about something, because we were talking about music, and I asked about a track, specifically, could they put this track on, which was like an older track, because when I go to these meetups, it's older music. I don't go for the music because it's not really my thing. And I like the people and the place, right? So that's why I go in the conversation. But anyway, I asked when the place was shut before we actually left if they could put a different song on. They did. And then he said this song, he thought this song was from a particular year. But then when he looked it up on his laptop, because I told him to look it on his laptop, he got it wrong. But instead of saying he was wrong, he said he was right, which means he's not honest. So can you see how I was wrong to assume in the first place, when even though we've been talking and getting on really well for 3 hours, and I thought he's very accepting of my asexuality, and oh, he must not be a hypersexual person then, how wrong I was, because the second week I found out he was like that because he had someone interested in him and doing that with him, right? But because I wasn't talking about that with him, then I didn't see that side to him. So I think this is a really important thing that I have learned that I wanted to share with you, because I think it's fundamentally important that if you are potentially getting into a relationship with someone or a friendship with someone, that you also try to do this with yourself. This is a hard skill to learn and master, because we all get impressions of people when we first meet them, but they can be the wrong impression. You could find out someone's actually better than you first thought they were, because someone might be shy and some reserved and not speaking much to you in the beginning, and actually they could open up and you find out they're a really nice person. So it could work the opposite way, where you find out they're actually more suitable to be your friend or potential relationship partner. So it could work both ways, but I think it's really interesting if we can analyze ourselves more and analyze how we are when we're trying to build friendships as well, and ask ourselves, is this going to be a healthy friendship? Is it equal amounts of time, energy, and effort we're putting into this, or is it just, excuse me, you doing the work all the time and putting the time, energy, and effort in, for example, or them? So I think it's very important to hold back. I find it hard as a hyper romantic asexual to not project what I think they are or what I want the person to be. This is being honest. But I know it's not just me who's a hyper romantic. I know there are a lot of people who, for example, I've met through the Love Life Club that do the same. Apparently, this is quite common, Matthew says, in romantic relationships, for example, is that a lot of people do project. And Matthew also says that, if you've been in a relationship for some time, you eventually see the true side to the person, but that people are on their best behavior in the beginning. They're only showing you what they want you to see, and then they will show you their true colors later on. So you might think they're one thing, but really they're something else. And so that's why people recommend you don't get into a relationship too soon with someone, and actually you date a number of people at the same time before you make your decision, so you don't just get into a relationship with someone who might not be any good for you. But some people don't like dating multiple people at once, you know? Dating multiple people at once for some people is just a horrendous idea. You know, but what they're saying is don't get exclusive with someone if they're not treating you well and treating you right. So I understand that point of view. And I think it's very important that we do spend time with ourselves reflecting on life. You know, like, because I'm not in a relationship anymore, I'm not focused heavily on getting into a relationship again anytime soon. Um, it means I've got more time to work on myself, my skills, more time to go to places on my own and do things I enjoy, more time to write, more time to focus on my health and get my life sorted, you know? So I think I'm doing well, all things considered, considering that relationship ended not well and I was quite very badly heartbroken for quite some time. I'm not fully over the relationship breakup this year, but I am a lot stronger now, a lot more resilient, happy that I'm not with that person anymore in every healthy sense. Of course, sometimes a little bit of me remembers some things I did like, such as the kissing and hanging out together and stuff like going to the cinema and stuff like that. But I know that person was not compatible with me. Not because of my asexuality, but because I value honesty, whereas he valued dishonesty. I value in sorting things out verbally. He valued like not speaking or fighting. You know what I mean? It's a completely different value system. So that's why we were incompatible. And I think it's important to know that even in tragedy, heartache, and pain, you can still get something out of it, like a new perspective. You can change your life in some way. Like when I split up with him, after some time, I changed some of my bedroom round. I got brand new curtains. One of the sides, which is like a glittery, like a well, it's like got glitter in the. It looks like it's got glitter in the curtain, sparkly curtain. You know, I got rid of an old suitcase, which was actually from my last long term ex, 2011. His mum bought me that, so I got rid of that. I have done some decluttering on my home, but I've still got more to do. I'm just more focused on what I want to do because I think I've been on the dating scene for like 10 years. That's a lot. But there is part of me that does think about, oh, I want to find a guy for a relationship who actually wants to build something serious with me, a future with me. You know, I still have that part of me that wants to find a nice guy for me, you know, because I do think there are some benefits of being in a relationship and having like that person is your bestest ever friend and soulmate and love of your life as well, you know, if you can get that. But I think it is trying to find a needle in a haystack a lot of the time. You know, it's not easy to find someone, whatever sexuality you are in this day and age, who's actually serious and committed, let alone when you're asexual. So it does make things a lot harder. But my observations are that he doesn't seem particularly happy without me, but I don't necessarily think that's got anything to do with me. I think just his life probably isn't going the way he wanted. And and I'm doing really well without him. So I'm quite happy about that. And yeah, I think even though I've got a broken back, you know, like I'm healing from that. And I do think that will even make me stronger because obviously I'm doing a lot more exercise now for my body. A lot of my body is exercised regularly now, like lots of different parts of it, like my feet and my legs and my hips and oh my god, as well as my back. So my neck and now my arms as well. I'm like, I'm exercising a lot, but it does exhaust me more. So, but you know what I mean? Like I would have been in a worse position had I still been in a relationship with him. But the reason why I broke my back was because I went to a business event, and the reason I went to a business event was because I was trying to get my confidence back after the split with him. So if I hadn't have split up with him, then I probably wouldn't have gone to the business show and I probably wouldn't have broke my back. So you could argue that that is not a good thing. That is a bad thing that happened. But I believe everything happens for a reason. So I believe that the back injury will lead me to better health long term. At the moment, it doesn't really feel like that because it's hardcore. It's the exercise are really hard. I get pain in my back. I had to sleep with an ice pack again last night. And breaking your spine is not an easy thing because your spine relates to every movement you make throughout your entire body. It's all related to the spine, you know what I mean? It's what holds you up. So it's, where all your nerves are going up and down as well. It's really hardcore. So, but I know I'm a really strong person. I will get through this. It's just hard, hard. So, like if I hadn't have split up with him, then I wouldn't have gone to the business show. But then I wouldn't be in Matthew Hussey's Love Life Club either right now, which is a joy and a blessing. So, and sometimes like the universe, I'm spiritual, so sometimes universe and God gives us a kick up the ass and says, hey, I need you to pay attention to this. You're not paying enough attention to it. So I'm just going to do something in your life like a sledgehammer to make sure you're paying attention to it. You haven't got a choice then. And so I find that's what happens with me sometimes. That's me being on the positive side of things, which some people wouldn't be. I'm like, okay, what's the positive of this? I'm like, well, it makes you sit up and take note of your health, Sandra, and try and improve it and get your strength better because you have no choice. You have to, because you don't want to be like not doing all the things you can do. Like I want to get myself to the point where I can go clubbing again if I want to. I can go Bollywood dancing again if I want to, and I can go upside down on roller coasters again if I want to. At the moment, I can't do those things still. It's very annoying because I don't have my full capacity of what I can usually do. And that is sad, but I'm a determined person that won't be stopped by things, you know what I mean? I won't be stopped by any guy, you know. I mean, when I was in a relationship with that guy, he was very belittling. He used to treat me like I'm 5 years old, even though he was younger than me. So I'm really glad that I don't have that anymore in my life. And I'm really glad that I can be strong, Sandra, now, like strong, powerful again, in my own personal power, empowered, and, not having the life drained out of me, which is important, not questioning myself and not, and not being on edge all the time or anxiety induced. There's a lot of benefits by not being with that person for me. And I'm not saying it was all bad, obviously, but I'm saying, in the end, it wasn't good for me. So, I just think that I'm a stronger person, like it was hard to break away from that person because I felt really deep emotional attachment to them. And I did used to really like kissing them, but you can't have a relationship based on those things. And it wasn't stable or secure for me. I like a lot of stability and security. And obviously, when you live on your own and you're in a relationship with you, just yourself, it's up to you to provide your own stability, your own happiness. It's up to you to provide your own security in life. And I think that's a lot better when you're relying on yourself more for your own security and happiness and well-being, because then you're not your emotions are not subject to someone else's reactive behavior and changeable behavior. If you're just depending on yourself, then you've only got yourself to answer to and yourself to blame, I guess, if things don't go right. Do you know what I mean? But self-blame's not a good thing either. So you just have to accept that everything happens for a reason. I think it's the way to go. But yeah, I mean, if you look at all the successes I've had since I've not been with him, confidence back, self-esteem back. I do smile at guys now, foreign guys, even though I don't actually pursue any foreign guys anymore. I do actually smile at them. There was a guy I went earlier when I went to the cinema. There was a guy in Poundland. He was Indian. I felt he was attracted to me and I was attracted to him, but that was about it. He was on the he was working there at the till point, and he came up to my till and started taking an old receipt away from the previous people that were there. But I just thought you didn't really need to do that. But okay, anyway, if you just want to see me and be next to me. But yeah, I was looking at him. He's quite good looking, but he was bearded. So I still get attracted to Indian guys the most. I don't think that'll ever change. And it is hard sometimes because I do still feel I had a soulmate in a past life who's Indian. I might have had multiple Indian soulmates in a past life. It wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me at all if if most of my exes in other lives were Indian, and that's why I got such strong feelings and affiliation towards them. But it's quite interesting because when I went to this new meetup this week, there was an Indian woman there who I got on really well with, and there was a guy she came with. I thought they were in a relationship, but he said they're not. They just work colleagues, and I didn't know that. And he said, "Oh, I came basically between them, like he'd been trying to get her to kind of like forget India more and concentrate on different cultures, including the UK. And he said coming out to a meetup would help her do that, which I find's weird. It's like, why wouldn't he just like be happy that she's Indian, like the way she is? I just found that a bit odd. But anyway, so yeah, so anyway, that was his intention, is to like get her to experience different cultures and kind of forget about India more and stop talking about it. But I ended up talking to her about India more because I said I like Bollywood music, I like going to Bollywood parties. I said I've gone to Frankie Goes to Bollywood in London, which is another thing that I did since splitting up with my ex. So yeah, I mean, I've been to see Frankie Goes to Bollywood since splitting up with my ex. I've been to see Aladdin. I've stayed in Bristol. I've stayed in London. Been to the aquarium in London. Been to Paddington Experience in London. Done shopping in London. Like, I've been out more. That's good because, like, when you're in a relationship, you end up spending more money when you're with them, so you have less money for yourself to spend on what you want to do. So one of the huge benefits about not being in a relationship is you've got more money to spend on yourself and doing what you want to do and going away, which is good. So yeah, I've learned a lot about, um I got my self-esteem back, self-confidence back, got a number one hot new release best-selling international book, which is for asexuals. I've been able to like write another book, Asexuality, which I'm still working on, which I need to finish for asexuals. I've been able to focus a lot more on my writing. I've been able to detox from the dating scene. I've been able to spend more time with myself. I've been able to spend more time on improving my communication skills. Oh, and advocating for my needs. So yeah, I'm learning more about how to express my needs and advocate for my own needs since not being in that relationship. And I'm learning that, you don't just have to accept everyone exactly as they are, which I thought you did. You can actually express your own needs. And if someone can't match those needs, even in a friendship, then you will eventually have to leave it if it's a very important need you have. So yeah, I think it's really a good thing that I'm not with that person anymore. Obviously, there is some things that I think sometimes, like if I think back to it and then I get that and upset and I start feeling sorry for him. I think it's because I'm empathetic because he doesn't care about me. So it's like, why are you feeling sorry for him, Sandra? We could argue I'm feeling sorry for him because he's not with me anymore, but that would be the wrong misjudgment. At the end of the day, he does not care about me. He is not sorry for the way he treated me and lied to me and deceived me, and he couldn't care less about me. So I don't even know why I feel sorry for him. It's just that when I started this video off, I said that I haven't done that for months, but looked at his Instagram profile pic and seen on his profile he put "the show must go on," which to me sounds not like he's doing really well in his life, but more like he's just getting by in life and carrying on with it. despite problems and difficulties, which you could argue is a positive thing in some ways, but it doesn't sound very positive to me. It sounds more like the person who's depressed and just getting on with life and making the best they can of it because they've got life's got to go on. So, but yeah, anyway, but I am actually thriving in terms of like my self-esteem, confidence, and needs expression and communication. But obviously, my health has not been good. So I still have improvements, mate. My life's not perfect. It could be happier. I've got things to work on myself continuously. And I feel I'm a better person for working on myself. But I think it's important to note your successes and how far you've come. And, I think it's important to know that even if you do have someone you really love and care about and you do get super attached to them, you can actually split up with them and be still good or better on your own. I think it's important to know that because it can be really hard when you really love and care about someone, regardless of how they treated you. You do go through a lot of grief, because you're grieving for what might have been with that person. Like when I first got with that person, they weren't painting a picture of me being in their future together. They were painting this picture of like us or them moving to my city and then being with me and stuff. They were painting a lot of this type of picture stuff. And so when you're grieving, you're not just grieving for what was, you're grieving for what might have been. You're grieving for the picture they painted in your head of what life might have been like with them in a good way. And so you kind of grieve for the good times that you never actually even had, but might have had in a projected future that never ever happened, which is very strange. But that's why you have to use your discernment and say, hey, what am I actually grieving over here? Am I grieving over the fact that I lost a liar? Which I did. Am I grieving over the fact that I lost someone who deceived me? Am I grieving over the fact that someone was not honest with me? Am I grieving over the fact that that person thinks fighting's a good thing? Am I grieving over the fact that that person likes thug life? Am I grieving over the fact that that person belittled me? Am I grieving over the fact that that person would barely speak to me for 2 days when it was them that originally upset me? Am I grieving because, they couldn't even be bothered to turn up on time for video calls and thought that was fine? Am I grieving that they disrespected my time and therefore disrespected me? Like, what the hell am I actually grieving for? Because all those things are things that is actually a good thing. I'm not with them for. You know what I mean? So it's kind of hard, but then you grieve for the loss of the attachment. You grieve for the feelings you have for that person. You grieve for the empathy you have for that person. You grieve with for the possible future that might have been good with that person. You grieve for the times that you did actually have that were good together. You grieve for the fact you haven't got a person there directly in your proximity to you anymore. You grieve for the fact you haven't got anyone to kiss and cuddle anymore. You grieve for the fact that you're not with that person anymore. But actually, it's a blessing because it frees you up to find someone who is right for you. It frees you up to find someone who does want to build a long, sustainable, committed, loving relationship with you. I always say you can't get with the right person in your life if you're actually with the wrong person. I thought that person originally was going to be the right person for me, but they were the exact opposite and the wrong person for me. So we have to not stay in that grief because then we don't see the beauty and marvel of the new people coming into our life and the potential that might be with someone else. And we miss out on all the glorious times with ourselves as well. So I think it's important to look forward, acknowledge we do have grieving to go through, do as much of it as possible. And most of my grieving, the majority I did within 10 weeks, it took me about 2.5 months till I started feeling like I was pretty much getting over him or got over him enough. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I do still have some feelings for him because when I saw his profile, I'm like, just his profile pic, I'm like, had some feelings come back for him. And so I'm not fully over him yet, but I hope to one day not have that happen, or just not even bother ever going back on there. So yeah, And I do think, it's a time of change, and that when something like this happens in your life, it actually thrusts you forward towards a better future and a better way of being. And in the end, everything will work out not just okay, but amazingly. You won't just survive, you'll truly thrive. And yeah, I'm a lot more relaxed and happy now, so it's good. Anyway, thank you for being with me. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you got anything benefit from it whatsoever, if you learned anything such as finding a builder to build an actual relationship with, then do give this video a thumbs up. Share it with a friend if someone needs to hear it right now, if they're going through heartache and heartbreak. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the bell icon, and grab a copy of my diary confessions of a hyper-romantic asexual book, 78 Life Lessons to Asexual Life. If you haven't already got a copy of it, it's a bestseller. And Asexual Perspectives, 47 Asexual Stories, Love, Life and Sex, a celebration of asexual diversity, which talks all about asexuality, love, life and sex from an asexual point of view. So yeah, go and grab a copy of those bestsellers, and I'll see you soon next video live stream. Lots of love. Take care. Bye. Nice to see you.